Welcome to the Boxing Bookie. We are back. It's good to be back. Good to have all y'all aboard today. It's going to be a good show. We're going to get into last minute locks. I want to answer your questions. I'm going to put a poll in the chat to start. I want to start with that. I'm going to start with a poll. Then I'll pay my bills, and then hang on. Give me 1 second. Let me get the poll going. Hang on 1 second. This is being stupid and gay. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to get my poll going here. Start a poll. Wins Parker or Bacoli? All right, guys, I started a poll. I want everyone to take the poll if you can. Bacoli or Parker? I just want to know who y'all think wins the fight. I just want your takes. So I put that in the. I'm gonna get through. Oh, Chilltown's here. What up, Chilltown?
Yo,
I was hoping you were gonna make it.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Yo, it's always hit or miss, man. I got 2 small kids, so I know you got the same. But
I got 3. Yeah, I get it.
What's going on? What did I miss, man? Some crazy boxing tomorrow.
I just started 2 minutes ago. We're all good.
Okay.
I haven't even done my advertisement yet. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Please smash the like button for me and for Chilltown. Guys, join the Patreon. Link is in the description. Just $5 a month gets the absolute best gambling advice. Gets you access to the Discord. It gets you the lock of the week. Get you all the best gambling advice. It's $5 a month. Link is in the description. It's also in the ticker below. I have it pinned in the chat as well. So do that. And then after you're done with that, head on over to carnivalbar.com. That's carnivalbar.com. Use promo code BOXING at checkout to save 10%. It's a meal in your pocket. It's the world's only high-fat, grass-finished beef bar that replaces a meal while on the move and stores for years. Get your travel autonomy and freedom back. That's carnivalbar.com. It's the nutrition of a steak, the convenience of a bar. carnivalbar.com. Use promo code BOXING at checkout to save 10%. All right, let's get into it. First off, I put a question in the chat. Real simple. Who wins, Bacoli or Parker? Chilltown. I know you're torn on this. I'm torn on it. There are some bets I like on this fight we'll get into, but who wins the fight and why?
Well, they just had the weigh-in. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I did not. Not.
He's fat. He came in heavy. Very heavy. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but significantly heavier than he did with Big Baby Anderson. So, not good if you're a Bacoli backer.
Yeah.
Parker, I didn't like that he came in so heavy. I don't know what his game plan was against Dubois, because the only advantage I thought Parker may have had was the hand speed, the foot speed, right? In and out movement.
Right.
You're going to give that up if you're coming in 20 pounds heavier than what you normally do. So I don't know what his game plan was with Dubois. But at the end of the day, I don't know the dynamics of Bacoli's camp, but coming in that heavy, I don't know what your gas tank's going to be like. And I got to favor Parker here. And I would love to back Bacoli. If he had a full camp, I'd be backing Bacoli all day. But I just can't. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Parker here, and I think it's a reasonable price. Now, how confident? I'm not sure, but I don't know. What are you thinking?
I wanted to see the weigh. You're telling me he's fat. My issue with Bacoli is his weight's all over the place, right? Like if you look at his weight, he was 284 for Jared Anderson. He was 300 for Takam. For Tony Yoka, he was 275. For Sergey Kuzman, he was 251. So his weight is all over the place.
315.
Yeah, him coming in heavy.
315. He's 48 pounds heavier than Parker.
That's an offensive lineman. That's an NFL offensive lineman. That's not good.
30 pounds heavier
Yeah.
from when he fought Jared Anderson. Imagine that, 30 pounds heavier. So he was in phenomenal shape against Big Baby, but now he's 30 pounds. So that just tells me he was like, I don't know, messing around. He wasn't in camp, right? He can't be that heavy. That's
So
crazy.
he's a guy to me that's on the verge. On the verge. He could be fighting for a heavyweight title shot if the Bulls bounce his way. Why is he taking such a dangerous fight out of shape? Why
Who,
would he risk?
Bacoli? Oh,
Yeah.
money. He's getting paid ridiculous amount of money. It's money. It's money. It's gotta be.
But
Yeah.
he's gonna lose an opportunity to fight Usyk. He's gonna lose an opportunity to fight Dubois. You know what I'm saying? If he loses here, he's gonna that huge money fight
Mm.
is gonna be off
Well,
the table for him, at least for the foreseeable future.
Gary, he was booked to fight Fa Jagua. I don't think whether he wins or loses. I mean, for me, I think if I was advising him, it's a good gamble because Parker is
All right.
beatable. You're not expected to beat like you're coming in last day's notice. You're getting paid a shit ton of money, and if you lose, you can still fight Fa, which is a winnable fight. So you still have that. But if you win, if you beat Parker, you can skip the Fa fight, and now you get even a bigger fight. So like I could see him rolling the dice on this, right? It's kind of win-win in my opinion for him.
Yeah,
But
if you lose, you still get the FA fight, and that was a win there, puts you right back on track, sort of. But that win over Jared Anderson, and I think Jared Anderson, at least in the eyes of the casual boxing fan, is held in a higher regard than FA. Now, whether or not you think Jared Anderson can beat FA is a different question. Right? I think his name carries more gusto to it than FA doand it's not to disparage FA. I think FA would beat Jared Anderson, but that's besides the point. I think the Anderson win and the way he beat Anderson was so impressive. It put his name right there for a title shot. Now, if he looks bad against Parker, you're right. He's going to have a built-in excuse, and then he goes out and beats FA. I guess it's kind of all well that ends well. I just don't know if it puts him right back in the time. Like, can you name me 3 guys you'd rather Usyk fight than Bacoli right now? You really can't, right?
well, right now it's supposed to be Dubois.
Yeah.
That's that's the storyline behind this. I think that's what Turkey wanted. I think that's what Usyk had mentioned. So Dubois' name was in the hat for the running. Obviously that didn't happen. I favored him to beat Parker, and then that was kind of the rematch people were expecting. But like I said, Bacoli had the fight scheduled on the card with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, right? They're fighting Arnold Barbosa and Rolly Romero. It was supposed to be Fa Jagua and Bacoli there, and that's I think in May. So if he get ranged for this call, why not? You win, you like I said, I just said, it's a win-win for him. If he wins, it's even better. Now he's got Parker on his name. He might not have to fight Fa. Maybe then he gets Usyk. If he loses, he still has the fight in May. And in the meantime, he's making millions because I'm sure the guarantee now is to get him out there is big money.
Yeah, I agree. Turkey is going to pay. Then you're taking the money, the fight, a dangerous fight on short notice. They're going to have to pay him. I agree with that. Was there any reports on what him and what Jess Padley were being paid? Because I'm interested in seeing what both of them were being paid on short notice.
Oh, well, they said that they bought Josh Padley a house. Eddie Hearn said that he got a house, and I think he might be making, I don't know, maybe 800. I'm sure because don't forget, Josh Padley's not a full-time boxer. He's an electrician. He's a daytime electrician, so he's not getting paid full time to be in training camp. You know what I'm saying? He's not like some blue chip prospect or contender that has a big promotional company behind him.
Am I overrating Josh? He's not going to win. Okay, he's obviously not going to beat Shakur Stevenson on any amount of those. But am I overestimating Josh Padley? I think he's pretty good. Like I think he's a solid domestic level, European level fighter who's going to fall short at the highest level. But I think he's pretty good.
Yeah. So I went back. So I've been going back and forth on this. So what I did was I rewatched the Josh Padley Mark Chamberlain fight today, and then I rewatched 2 of Shakur's last fights. Well, I didn't watch the Edlin de Los Santos. I would never do that to myself. And I'd rather
who's
watch
worse
paint
to
dry.
watch, Shakur or Parker? Who's harder to watch?
No, well, you know what? I'll tell you this. Before that fight, he fought Yoshino, which was an undefeated Japanese fighter who was actually very good and heavy-handed. And Shakur put an absolute beating on him. I believe it was his 6th round knockout, but he figured him out by round 2, dropped him, and then walked him down. So the Santos fight was a completely different style. I won't even get to that. But his last fight against Hardham, who, in my opinion, was beating Frank Martin, a good underestimated fighter. Shakur was trying for the knockout, and he was walking Artem down. The thing was, Artem has some great feet, and he's tough and durable. And he was eating some body shots. He almost went down a few times to the body from Shakur. Shakur was really trying to get the stoppage because of he gets a lot of criticism for not getting the stoppage, and he was on the front foot against Artem.
I pointed this out. Everyone's like, he's running the whole time. I'm like, he's not. He's pulling back still, right? Like he's still pulling back, but
he fights in the pocket.
Coming forward.
His fights in the pocket. He's not like Devin Haney that doesn't have an inside game, that has to use distance and range. No, Shakur will step to you and fight in the pocket, and that's what he did in his last fight. It was Artem who was on the back foot. I know.
Yeah,
I just watched all 12 rounds of it because I wanted to see, will he have a similar approach to possibly Josh Padley? And Josh Padley didn't have a full training camp. We know this. He got rung like 3 days ago. But Josh Padley's not bad. My thing is, when I watched the Mark Chamberlain fight, Mark Chamberlain, I think, got somewhat exposed as one-dimensional, and he was chasing Padley. Padley has some good footwork, but he was chasing Padley, and he just has the 1-2, the straight right left hand. He's southpaw, right? So yeah, and he didn't have anything else. He couldn't cut the ring off. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh man, if somebody would be able to cut the ring off and force Josh Padley to fight, he'd be in some trouble. But I think Shakur can do that anyway. So after all the tape I did, I'm telling myself, I can't see any way that this goes 12 rounds, even with Shakur. I cannot see any way that this is going 12 rounds, especially he didn't have a training camp. So just think of that. Like, being in shape is one thing.
Was he in camp, or was he training for another fight? Did he have anything on the docket? Like,
I was told no.
Okay.
I was told no.
Imagine you got to go fight Shakur Stevenson without a camp. I mean, yeah. I mean, look,
I know. I mean,
they're giving him a house on top of the paycheck. So yeah, you have to do it, right? Like, you're a man, you have bills to pay. I get it, but this is a big task for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him doing maybe 2-3 rounds until Shakur figures them out, and it's just the accuracy that Shakur has is unbelievable, and the accumulation. Like, he'll go down to the body. He's a very good body puncher, and for somebody that isn't training, you can't really even train for Shakur, but at least you can be in fighting shape, and he kind of is lacking that. So I just think you can't block Shakur once he figures you out and you're not on a certain level. There's a massive level gap here. He's going to be able to touch it to the body, touch it at top, spin around, especially once you start getting tired. He's going to be able to do what he wants. The corner's going to stop it, the ref's going to stop it, or you're just going to get knocked down. So that's how I see it. And DraftKings is paying well on it. So that was one of my I don't know, what I put myself in today was to do the tape on that, and I took that.
Let's get into. I want to start with the two replacement fights. I want to start with Parker and Bacoli. Initially, I liked Bacoli. Just if he had a full camp, I like Bacoli. From what you're telling me, I'm gonna not take Bacoli. I'm not gonna take Parker at -175. That's too wide for me. That's almost 2-1 in his favor. Would you still be willing to bet on Parker?
You know what? I thought Parker handled the Joe Joyce pressure well. That was somebody that had incredible gas tank, just kept marching forward. And Joe Joyce went toe to toe with him and was knocking everything off Joyce's face. This was before Joyce broke apart. But he did well. I mean, Parker gets... Yeah, I just think Bacoli's going to gas out. Bacoli's not going to be able to sustain that pressure. I mean, he's 30-something pounds heavier than Baby Anderson here. So, I think Parker money line. I think that might be the way. Parker points is paying very high, by the way. So
that was my next question, right? That was I wanted to get to that, right? So I would do something like that if I'm going to take Parker. But Ken Bacoli, is he in condition to even go the full? It's 12 rounds still, right? They're doing 12.
Yeah.
And can Bacoli go 12? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he? He's 200. I mean, he's 315 pounds. Can he go 12 rounds? Or is he gonna gas out before that? Like, that's my next question to you.
Well, the thing that gives me pause with Parker is that he's not like an AJ where he smells blood and he'll go right. Parker lets people survive all the time. I remember
He
in the
does. He
Chisora
does.
rematch, like Chisora got knocked down 3 times. Like there was plenty of times that Parker would have been able to step on the gas and stop him, but he didn't. He did go the distance with Jack Massey, who wasn't a heavyweight recently. He moved up from cruiserweight. He had a couple knockouts after that, but they were against like journeyman pretty much, right? But Bacoli, he's gonna be. I could see this fight being sloppy and get very muddy, where they're both somewhat overweight and now they're just leaning on each other, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, it's a 12 rounds. We're going to decision. So put it that way, right? If don't forget Parker's coming in very heavy too. I think 20 pounds heavier than his last fight.
Yeah, what's
So
up with Parker's weight? Why is Parker so big?
I don't know. That's my question because I would have been all over Dubois if Dubois was healthy now. Seeing Parker's weight, I thought.
There were two props that I like. I want your thoughts on these props here. At minus 310, either fighter to be knocked down. So any knockdown, you win this bet. Minus 310, I'm betting yes. Do you think there's any knockdown in this fight?
That's tough, but heavyweights, man. It's so
Someone's
easy
getting
to catch
knocked down in
somebody
this
off
fight. Yeah.
balance. Yeah. Is Bacoli really gonna get? Is Parker have the power to knock down Bacoli? I don't.
If he's
Bacoli would have to
totally
be so gassed,
if
right?
he's totally gassed, you hit him with a body shot, he takes a knee, you win the bet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I like. There's also the. I'm looking at this. Bacoli has to start fast because he can't go 12, right? Can he start fast and get a knockdown? Can he knock Parker down in the first 2-3 rounds? Because there's a plus money prop Parker to be knocked down at plus 120. I like Parker. I like either fighter to be knocked down at minus 310, but plus money bet Parker to be knocked down plus 120. How do you feel about that?
Not confident.
Not
No.
confident?
No, I don't have a confidence in that. I could see everyone keeps telling me, "Oh, Parker would have to stop him in 4 because he's obviously so out of shape." But I meant Bacoli. But Bacoli could come in and not start fast and just know I'm out of shape and I'm just going to pace myself. So and then make it a muddy fight and just try to start. This is a small ring, by the way, too. I heard it's an 18-foot ring, which is I believe is the
It's
smallest you can
smaller.
go. So
Well, 18 is traditionally what the Garden uses. The normal ring is 20. Yeah, but 18 is
I've seen up to 22. Yeah.
22.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean. So he could just, I don't know what his game plan is going to be, but there's a way I could see nobody getting knocked down and this being a distance. But obviously, it's a heavyweight, so it's so volatile. They could both be knocked down. But just going off who I think would probably win, and like with all the information given to me, I'd have to say Parker.
I'm leaning that way now too. I just don't love the minus 175.
No, you would have to put that together with something else. Yeah, I wouldn't play that straight.
Real Mazito wants to know: is the 315 actual, or is it actually confirmed, or is it just rumored? No, that's what he weighed in at.
That's confirmed. Yeah, that's online right now.
And Robin wants to know how do you guys feel about Ortiz Madrimov? We're gonna get to this in a second, but real quick, he says I like Madrimov, but what do you guys want? I think we both agreed we like Verge in this fight on the money line, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We both like Verge. It was minus 125 the last I checked. So the other prop, minus 120, Bacoli gets knocked down. Minus 120. Would you bet that?
Okay, I'll ask you, has Bacoli ever been knocked down?
I was going to ask that question to you. I watched about 4 of his fights. His most recent fights, no. I don't know if he ever got knocked down early in his career.
I've watched a bunch of his fights. I've watched him when he beat Tony Yoka.
Yep.
I remember Serhii Kuzman, and I don't think he won that fight. I remember the Michael Hunter fight, but he had a shoulder injury. And then obviously his more recent fights, Carlos Takam. He came in very heavy in that fight. Carlos Takam was also like 42.
But Takam was never that good, and he's totally shot. Yeah.
Yeah, he was also but yeah. I don't think so. So my point is, I'm just talking to myself here, but I don't think he's been knocked down. So if you're gonna ask me, is Parker the one to do it? Out of all the heavyweights, Parker's more of a boxer than puncher. I would label him as, right.
Yeah, he's not a puncher at all. I'm just saying because
he's a good round winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I get the conditioning part, but I mean, 315 pounds is gonna be hard to move around. And if he's out of shape, he might. He might know that and say, hey, I'll pace myself. I won't embarrass myself. I'll make it to the distance, get paid, and I got my FA fight. Or maybe he'll fight Parker, and I can picture a sloppy fight. Like, people think Parker is some version of Usyk. This is what I've been hearing the last week. Like, he's such a great boxer. But he goes into wars. Parker goes into wars. So I could see this being a chest to chest. They're both tired now because they got so much weight on them. All of a sudden, like I said, it's 11th round, 12th round. Here we go. It wasn't a good fight. And now the scorecards are getting read. I
This
mean,
is
I could
why
see that.
I hate betting on heavyweights, to be honest with you. I hate betting on heavyweights. But all right, so two other things. To go the distance, it's plus 175. Now, this is the sexy one. Parker by decision, paying plus 340. I'd say there's a better than 50-50 chance that Parker wins by decision. And it's paying plus 340. Is that a bet that maybe you're only 55% confident on it, but is that a bet at plus 340 you would advise people to get in on? Parker by decision. Yeah.
I personally took it. I took it.
Those odds, you have to, right? Like, you have to. Plus 340?
Not only that, I'm thinking that logically, it's probably the most likely outcome. In my head, this is what I'm thinking. If Bacoli's on a shape, he might not hurt Parker, but he's so big, he might not get stopped. So then all of a sudden, you got Parker winning on points. There you go. And you're paying me plus 340 on that? Like, this is what I'm thinking. Like, I don't know. It just didn't seem right. So I got to play it because the odds are so wide.
All right. I want to move over to Shakur Stevenson. Let me get that pulled up. Let me get the Shakur Stevenson pulled up. You like Shakur by stoppage, right?
That's hard for me to say. Yeah. I mean, to spit it out. It's like saying I like Bivol by stoppage, right? Not as bad, but
yeah.
I know. UD, they call him UD Bivol.
Yeah. Shakur Stevenson is minus 4,000. Obviously, we don't want to touch that. The over-under is even money, basically, minus 115 each way, 8.5. I like the over. Do you think Shakur gets him out before 8.5? Before,
I'll be honest. I could see it early. I really could see it early. I could just see a massive skill gap. Man, and it's not like Shakur's some heavy hitter because he's not, but he's so ridiculously skilled. And after this
He's
is
so
what
sharp.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. Like, we just saw Keyshawn stop somebody in 4 rounds, and Denny Sparenchek, who is better than Josh Padley. Like, in the same division, I know Shakur knows that. Like, this guy just is literally coming in on 2-3 days notice. Like, you got to make a statement. You cannot drag this guy into the second half of a fight. Like, if you're pound for pound, which Shakur is, like, you have to make a statement here. And Josh Padley, outside of Chamberlain's, fought nobody. Like, he's decently skilled, but I think he also very much overperformed. He had a full training camp for the Mark Chamberlain fight. Right? Mark Chamberlain fight was a completely different style than Shakur. Shakur's so well-rounded. I think Shakur's going to figure him out and then just be able to beat him up. He's just going to beat him up. Don't forget, like, this guy doesn't have power. Like, Josh Padley only has, I think, 4 knockouts. So
no, he's not a puncher at all. He's a typical Eddie Hearn prospect. The good skills, British level guy, doesn't look to hurt anyone, so he's going to fall short at the highest stage, right? So, I don't care who you are or how much skill you have. You have to be able to punch to some degree because you can't run from world-class fighters for 12 rounds. It's not going to happen. You're going to tire, and they're going to kill you.
This is my point. The 2 times that he got serious criticism for Shakur, they were both 2 heavy punches. Yeah. I believe it was like Nakatalia, the African fighter, and then obviously Edwin de los Santos. So they had heavy, and Shakur knew that, and he's like, I don't want to get caught by them. So he played it safe. He's not going to have to worry about that with Josh Padley. So, because Josh doesn't hit hard. He only has 4 knockouts. And the opposition that he's faced, half of his record are against losing, the opposition all have losing records. So his opposition hasn't been good. So Shakur's going to know that he doesn't have the power to hurt him. And once that's figured out and the distance is broken, he's going to be able to do what he wants. And I think he's going to be a stoppage in the first half of the fight. I could see it within 6.
I thought, okay, Shakur could get a stoppage, but he's going to have to gun for it late, and he might get it late. But I liked it. Now you're changing my opinion, right? Like, you're making a lot of sense. Originally, I said Shakur might get the stoppage, but it's going to come late. So I would take the over. I think Padley's skilled. And I think Padley's really good at avoiding pressure and not getting hit. Like Padley is a world class guy. He can, to me, he can survive if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying no, he's going to get taken out in the first half of the fight. So you guys got to split vote here. I think he can survive. I'm not saying he's going to survive 12, but I think he can survive through 8.5.
It's not even that because I know he's tough. Absolutely, he's tough. But there's a problem when you can't stop the punches hitting you, right? He's not good. There's going to be a skill difference here where he's not going to be able to stop that body shot coming in or that straight left hand because Mark Chamberlain was hitting him with a straight left hand. Shakur blinds you. He's going to hit you with that straight left hand and touch you to the body, and there's nothing that he's going to be able to do about it. So he might get beaten up. Like, it might be so one-sided, especially when his team knows that he hasn't had a full training camp. Like, why am I going to let this guy keep taking a beating? He's getting paid. Like, he's getting outclassed. You know, let's stop the fight, or Shakur's just going to end it. Don't forget, like, I think and I know Yoshino's a better fighter. Yoshino had more power. Yoshino got stopped within 6. And was knocked down.
Yeah, but he's there to be hit more. Padley's not there to be hit. Padley's a back foot mover more. Like that's what I'm like. If you're saying who has a chance to hurt Shakur Stevenson, it's not Padley. Who has a chance to get on the back foot and survive and run out the clock? I think Padley does. It depends. Look, if Padley wants to get into a fight to try to win, there's a good chance he can get knocked out. If he says, I'm 4 rounds in, I'm getting my ass kicked, I'm losing every second, I'm just going to go into survival mode now, True. I honestly think he's good enough that he can do
But Gary, you have to be in some serious shape to be on that back foot.
That's a good point.
Like, you have to have a serious camp if someone's going to just keep walking you down. Because once your feet start planted, when you say, hey, I can't keep this guy off me, say if that's by the 5th round, the 6th round, it's like, yo, you're a sitting duck. What are you gonna do now? Now you're just getting touched up and down because your legs are gone. Like, this is a Mark Chamberlain that couldn't cut off the ring. Shakur has some of the best footwork in the game. He's going to cut the ring off, and then what are you gonna do?
Miran says, I've just taken Parker by decision. I gotta agree with Chilltown. So Miran, if you hit on that bet, you owe Chilltown a 10% commission. That's what they said about Shakur's last fight, and he failed at home.
But he had a full training camp, Levon. This is what I'm alluding to. And Artem, which I don't know if you missed it or not, but Artem, in my opinion, was beating Frank Martin. Frank Martin is a very good fighter. Frank Martin won every round off of Michelle Rivera, who I was rated at the time. Frank Martin's a good fighter. Like, Artem is a good fighter. That's why I'm betting. Artem is above Josh Padley, and he had a full training camp. And Artem was hurt multiple times in that fight. I just rewatched that fight today. So this is where I'm coming to the conclusion that Shakur could and should stop Josh Padley.
So give me your prediction on the fight. We both like Shakur by stoppage. Give me a round. I'm going to say 11. Give me a round.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would say 7. 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
6 or 7.
I'm with you on the stoppage. We disagree on the over-under. So we'll find out tomorrow. We'll find out, if Padley, if Padley fights to win, I agree. It could be over quickly. But I think he's going to realize real quickly that he's in over his head.
And fight to survive. That's what Artem was doing. He just didn't want to get knocked down. But Artem is crafty, and he was in phenomenal shape to be. And he took, you could tell he was in shape because he was getting hit to the body. He was going like this. You have to be in top-notch shape to be able to withstand the attack like that. And I'm gambling that this kid's not in fighting. You haven't been sparring, you haven't been in training. You're working a full-time job that isn't boxing. So you get rung this call, all of a sudden you're in with a pound for pound great. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, there are fights that you're in where you realize right away that you're not winning this fight. So then you have to decide. You can do what John Molina did with Terrence Crawford and just load up on every shot and try to end it with every punch you throw. And say, if I get knocked out in the interim, I get knocked out in the interim. Or you could just go into survival mode, right? And I think Padley is going to go into survival mode now. How far can he make it? I don't know. I think his conditioning is going to be vital, like you said. Like if he had a full camp, maybe he can make the distance on this short notice. Maybe you're right. Maybe he can't make it beyond 6 or 7 rounds. We'll find out. I like the over. I think he can survive long enough to hit the over.
And mentally, I think Shakur wants to get because he's gotten so much criticism in the past. Like Shakur
Yeah,
doesn't want to make this like you don't want to
fair
drag
point.
it out too long. I think he really wants to make a statement. He's on the turkey card. We just know what Keyshawn did. The lightweight division has some great fighters in it. Like you imagine going 12 rounds with a guy nobody heard of, and he just got the phone call 3 days ago. Like you can't say Shakur and pound for pound in the same sentence. That's the reality of it.
It's not going to help his pound for pound ranking. I agree with that. I would still take him to beat anyone at 135 other than Tank Davis. Like the Tank Davis fight, I think if he fought that 10 times, 5 times Shakur Stevenson would survive and 5 times he would get knocked out. So it just depends.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
But all right, I want to just run through these real quick with you, Chilltown. Buatsi, Callum Smith, Buatsi at minus 205. I think that's great value. Money line minus 205, Buatsi. I think that's a great bet. I'm a big fan of Buatsi. I think he goes the distance. He's been going the distance a lot recently. But Buatsi at minus 205, I think is a great bet. And the prop, Buatsi by decision, is paying plus money. I'd probably just take him on a money line. But what are your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, I like the money line. I like the money line here because not so much that if it's a close fight, draw, you don't get screwed. And it could potentially, I don't know, be a close fight. But could he hurt Callum? I think he could. I don't know. Callum, I will say this, Callum Smith looked very, very good on the scales. I think he was like a pound under 175. I think he came in at like 174.
I just think he was always overrated. Like I think Buatsi beats the best version of whatever that is, the one that beat Dom, the one that lost to John Ryder, whatever the best version of Callum Smith is. I think Buatsi beats that guy.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said before, Buatsi's my holdback with Buatsi is his vulnerability because Willie Hutchison was wobbling him. I don't like that he's susceptible to hooks, and Callum Smith's got a good hook. But other than that, I think Joshua Buatsi does everything better. He's in the prime. The momentum's in his way. Like he's got so much more in his favor that the minus 200 is money line. Like I played it, so I took Buatsi.
I want to ask you about a parlay when we're done with this, but I want here we go. Says, what about his brittle hands? Now, rival gloves. I know they were a Canadian thing. They wouldn't really have rival gloves when I was boxing. Are they a puncher's mitt or rival gloves more to protect your hands like the Everlast gloves? Are they more for punches or more for protection?
I'm not sure, but I mean Mayweather always had the same gloves. Issue. Yeah, but he had the hands that were brittle or hand surgery multiple times. But yeah, that's just the thing that Shakur deals with is the hands.
All right, let's get into Zhang and Ajit Kabayal. This is tough to me. I like this prop right here. If I was to bet on anything, to go the distance, no, it's minus 170. That's the bet I would make. I like Ajit, but he's 165. So whether I bet Ajit to win or I bet the fight to not go the distance, it's basically the same money. I feel more confident that someone gets knocked out. I think either Zhang gets gassed and gets stopped, or he stops Kabayal. Either way, I win. What bet would you make on this fight? You can get over under 9.5 at even money. Zhang at plus 135. Kabayal. What would you bet on this?
I like Ajit. I took a money line. There's a world where I think he could beat him on points, or he can stop him. Zhang's never been stopped before, right?
Zhang's not winning a decision, though. You know what I'm saying? Like Zhang is not going to win enough rounds. Yeah.
No. So what would that leave you with a Zhang knockout, right?
Zhang would be a knockout.
That's why I like. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like the money line because I think there's a world where he survives. I don't know.
Kabayal gets aggressive though, and he's a volume guy. Like he leaves himself open to be hit. With Zhang, it literally takes one. That's why I don't. That's why I'd rather just bet someone gets knocked out than bet on Kabayal because I know if I bet on Kabayal, he's going to be dominating the fight for 5 rounds. In the 6th round, he's going to walk into one left hand and the fight's over. I know that's going to happen.
Yeah. Zhang's been the distance though a handful of times.
Yeah, which is crazy because he's 42 years old and 300 pounds.
I know. I mean, of course, the what was that? Jerry Forrest who almost beat him. Hergovich, which was a close fight that could have probably went either way. and then what was it? Rudenko, he went the distance with. Obviously Parker, he went the distance with. So there's a world where I think maybe he can survive. That's I don't know. I'm
But
just
he's never
trying
really
to.
fought a volume. Wilder is not a volume puncher. Joseph Parker
No,
doesn't
I
want to
can't
hurt
even
you,
put.
right?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like the guys he's gone the distance with aren't overwhelming you with volume, right? If you just hurt
which
him
is
and
rare
then you,
though. There is no heavyweights really like that. Like
I
that,
know.
especially work the body. Like I just like you're not gonna fight. He doesn't really fight. At least his new style, because he didn't fight Chisora like that. The last two fights that he's been like a buzzsaw. He really has been.
If he hurts him to the body and then just lets his hands go, he's gonna force the ref to stop the fight. And
Mm.
like I don't think with the way he attacks the body, with Zhang being 40, whatever, 41, 42 years old, that
So
he
you
makes
like
it.
the no distance?
I like it to not go the
Yeah,
distance.
that's
I
that's
like
making sense. Yeah, I could see because you protect yourself both ways. What's that? Same makes sense.
minus
Okay.
170. So it's basically the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. A Geet on the money line is minus 165. So it's basically the same. It's basically the same.
Yeah.
Jerry Forrest almost beat him. Yeah, we did. Jerry Forrest almost beat Zhang.
To be fair, Zhang had like a serious medical condition, but still.
Ortiz Majimov. Ortiz on the money line, right? Like we're not comfortable taking Ortiz by either prop, right? We just like Ortiz on the money line.
Yeah, I like it. I haven't played it yet just because I want to see the first two rounds. If
And then
Virgil's
you'll
closing
like bet it.
distance, yeah, Virgil's closing distance, like I think he may. If he's not having trouble with in and out movement and Madrimov, the feints, if he's able to feel comfortable in his style, now I think he's going to dictate that style the rest of the fight, and it's going to be Virgil's fight. So I just want to make sure. So I haven't just jumped on it, but I do favor Virgil, and I expect him to be able to make it
To me,
his type of fight.
at minus one, I'm gonna put money on Virgil on the money line right before the fight.
He looked good at the weigh-ins, so
Yeah.
He looked big. He looked big.
Adames, Shiraz minus 290. I think it's worth the bet.
Or is he -3? He's -290 right now.
Yeah, he's been all over. It was as
Yeah.
high as -3 and change. Now it started at minus 200. Then it went to minus 310 or
I
320.
just saw -350 like an hour
350.
before I jumped on here.
Yeah.
On
Now
DraftKings, it was -350.
it's been all over the place. It's at minus 290. I
It's like
think
the
that's a
stock
nice.
market. So
Yeah.
well,
I think that's a nice bet to build your parlay around. I think Shiraz is safe here. First, before I watched the tape on Adonis, I was like, yeah, he was minus 250 at that time. So that's kind of why. I don't know that I love the odds. I watched the tape. I think Shiraz is safe. I don't see a path to victory for Adames. I don't know if Shiraz stops him, although he might. But I feel very confident in picking Shiraz here. Your thoughts?
yeah, same. Yeah, I'm heavy on Shiraz. You know, it's really like Adamas's last few fights. They haven't even been against real middleweights. Like J Rock was really 154. Taro Gusho 154. The only real middleweight that he's fought was I think Serhii Derevyanchenko, and even in that fight, probably could have went either way, but he gassed badly. So I think this is really Shiraz is just he's just on the incline, and Adames at 160 is kind of plateaued. So I like Shiraz here.
On Parker and Bacoli, we both like the plus 340 prop on Parker by points. That's a really good money bet right there. Plus 340 on something that's we both think is the most likely outcome. I think that's a great bet if you're looking for a plus money bet. And then Beterbiev Bivol. I don't love this is a 50-50 fight to me, and the odds indicate that I'm favoring Bivol. I know you're favoring Beterbiev slightly, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I would do this. I would take the over 10.5 minus 310 and the knockdown prop on 1.5 knockdowns. Where is it? Total knockdowns. 1.5. Under 1.5 knockdowns is minus 215. I would stay away from the money line here and bet these props. I would take under 1.5 knockdowns, and I like the over. Are you comfortable enough that you would bet Bivol at minus 120? I mean, Beterbiev. I'm sorry. Would you bet Beterbiev at minus 120?
You know what I like and what I took the first time was Batervia points. What is Batervia points right now?
That's going to be plus money. Let me check it out for you. Baterviev.
The first time it was like +4 something.
Yeah, because everyone said it was either Baterviev by points
That's what
or
they
Baterviev by knockout. Although right
yeah.
now it's plus 260, which is still good money.
Yeah. I think listen, the last I think we agree the last 10, 11, 12, right? 10, 11, 12, those rounds. Batervia
Yeah,
was the momentum switch, right? So if we
right.
start in round 13 here and Batervia starts a little faster, just say he starts a little faster now that they know each other, I think he can make it more convincing.
Does he?
So,
If he starts quicker, I used to always say this about Bernard Hopkins and Chocolatito Gonzalez as they aged in their career when they got in the 40s and stuff. Do they? If he starts quicker, does he fade quicker?
so I thought about that. And, if the age was a factor, I don't think he would have kicked it in the championship rounds, right? You would have
Yeah, he's
kind
on
of.
some good juice. Can we be honest? I don't know what better be is on, but he's on something good, man. He really does not fight like he's 40.
No, 41. Yeah, yeah, I know. He really kicked it in those extra those championship rounds. So and now I think there might be a chip on his shoulder with people saying, "Oh, you probably got the robbery, maybe you didn't win." So I just think if he starts a little faster, he might be able to make this a real 7-5 or 8-4 fight. And if that's the case, he's going to win on points because, like you said, I don't think either one of these guys are getting knocked down. They're both so defensively responsible. They're both tough, durable. I don't think either one's going to get stopped. And I think, but Bivol really has to make his style. He's really going to have to make the rounds clear for him to win. I think so. If that's the case, Baturviev might have the game plan here, and I like the points.
Here's
Bivol by
something
decision. Yeah.
here's something that we hit on with Vito Malnicki. Plus 1,400 on a draw again. Same money as Malnicki's fight. Plus
Oh, you gotta
1,400. Throw
listen,
something on it,
Gary.
right? Like, yeah.
Gary, the first fight was a majority decision. So
Mm-hmm.
look, these rounds are going to be hard to split. We already know this. They're gonna the style clash. It's gonna be judged just what do you like. You might score around one way. I might all of a sudden before you know it, it's 6-6 and it's a draw. That's all you need. So I would definitely play. I've played the draw already on this. I mean, you have to
Yeah, I'm gonna
for the
throw. I'm not
prices.
gonna throw a lot on the draw, just like I didn't throw a lot on the Malnicki draw, but I'm gonna throw something on the draw here too. Lee Vaughn says Bivol by decision trilogy fight this summer. It's possible. It
They
wouldn't be
said
the
the
summer,
same
it'd be later in
thing.
the year, but it's
I get
possible.
it.
Yeah.
They said the same thing for Fury Usyk, right? Oh, Fury's gonna win, and then they'll have the trilogy, and then they scored it correctly
It's
for
good. Yeah.
Usyk, right? So I get that, but I mean, it
But
would
like,
it
I
would
mean,
make for a good storyline, but I don't know if that's a factor here.
look, the first fight was picked. I did a poll. I scored up a Bivol the first fight. I did a poll here, and it was 70% of the people thought better be of one. So okay, that's fine.
Same.
Like,
Yeah.
but there was a reasonable scorecard that you could hand in, like I had for Bivol to win the first fight, right? Like, what I'm saying is, you don't need a bogus scorecard for Bivol to win. The fight's going to be that close again, right? Like, it's going to be a nip and tuck fight. I don't think that like Bivol by decision means the fixes. I think maybe Bivol gets the benefit of the doubt in a couple of rounds that he did in the first fight. Like to me, the first fight was 50-50 on paper. It was 50-50 in the ring. I think this fight is 50-50 on paper. I think it's going to be a 50-50 fight in the ring. Like if Bivol ekes out a decision, I think it's possible. And then you have to run it back.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
All right. And then under 1.5 knockdowns. I love that. I love that prop. I think everyone should bet on that prop. There needs to be 2 knockdowns, and it's minus 215. Just get in on that. That is a great bet. All right. I wanted to ask you about a parlay that I like a lot. Let me clear this out so we can calculate the odds. Give me 1 second. It's Shiraz on the money line, Shakur Stevenson by stoppage, and then over 10.5 on this fight. What are your thoughts on? Let me get the total odds. Let me clear this out. All right, so Shakur Stevenson by stoppage, over 10.5 on this, on Better Be and Bivol, and then Shiraz on the money line.
Yeah, I played
Total
something. Yeah.
Total
is that?
odds is plus 149. So it's Shakur by stoppage, over on the main event, and Shiraz on the money line, plus 149. Your thoughts on that bet?
Yeah, I like that. I played something similar. I think I
I'm gonna.
might have added Parker money line.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I like that. I like that. I think that has a very, very good chance of hitting, and it's at plus money.
I'm going to throw something on this too. I'm going to throw something on this, and I'm going to throw something on the main event to be a draw. There's 2+ money bets. I'm gonna throw some money on. All right. Let me check my poll real quick. I did a poll in the show. Who's gonna win the heavyweight? Let's see how this turns. Oh, this is close. Hang on. I did a poll in the beginning of the show. Who's gonna win Parker and Bacoli? I'm interested in seeing what the people said. Bacoli 52-48. So it's close. But the chat is slightly leaning towards Bacoli to win the fight, 52%, 48%. Interesting. I could see that if he had a full camp. Like if he had a full camp, I'm taking Bacoli. But he's 315 pounds and didn't have a full camp. So,
and he's had. I think people have like recency bias off the Big Baby Anderson
fight. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's been some fights before that he was not looking that good.
The chat here doesn't like Shakur by stoppage. They're saying Shakur by stoppage, LOL. Pillow fist Shakira. Does Shakur have hand issues? Yeah, I think he's fighting an outmatched guy who took the fight on short notice. I think the fight is not going the distance. I think he's gonna stop him late. Chilltown thinks he's gonna stop him in the first half of the fight, or 6 or 7, something like that. So. Yeah, I understand Shakur is not the biggest hitter in the world. I understand he's not Tank Davis. That doesn't mean he can't get a stoppage against an outmatched opponent if he's going.
The experience and skill gap are night and day. They're not even close. So it doesn't have to do with you can have pillow fights. You get hit in the face with a pillow enough, they're gonna stop the fight.
I think the stoppage could come from the corner too. I really do. Like enough's enough at a certain point.
They know he didn't have a training key. He just got the phone call. I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, listen, and as far as like Carlos Adames, I know you did the tape. I did the tape. I have not been impressed with him. So he's like in his last fight against 154-pound Otero Gusha. I mean, that fight could have went either way. Yeah, that fight could have went either way, in my opinion. He has moments of like 30 seconds where he's explosive. It looks good, but then he gets just lazy. And the last person you want to be lazy against is a guy with a phenomenal jab that's going to keep being in your face, and then you're going to get tagged with the right hand, getting pushed back. I don't see him breaking distance. Like, Emma Williams was able to clock him a few times, and Emma Williams has power, and he seemed okay. So
what time does the undercard portion of the card start tomorrow?
Almost 12, around noon.
And that's the undercard starts on the zone.
That's New York time. I know you're not. Okay. So
yeah, I'm a Central, so it's an hour ahead. So about 11 o'clock. And the undercard portion, well, yeah, the pay-per-view, it's all on the zone. I don't have to go to those stupid websites to watch it, right? Like it's all on the zone. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, did you guys already talk about Ortiz versus Majimov? We did. We both like Verge. Chilltown says he's gonna wait. He wants to watch the first 2 rounds, but he's leaning towards Verge as well. He wants to see if Verge can close the distance on him. Velocity starts at 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. All right, thank you, Bipolar.
Let me just tell you my main knock on Majimov was when I thought the Bud Majimov fight was very close, and Majimov was the champion, and the last few rounds he just let them slide away. Like, you're the bigger guy. Bud is coming up from 147. He started at 134. Like, you're supposed to be the champion, and you let Bud outwork you. And like, if you can't fight against Bud, you're gonna have Virgil, who's gonna make you fight. Like, if you couldn't do it then, you're gonna do it now all of a sudden. And so I don't know. And Bud and Virgil are 2 completely different fighters. I understand that, but Virgil's bigger. And Virgil's gonna
real big, yeah. And Virgil's younger, and he's a firefighter. You're right. He's going to make you fight. You're not going to be able to escape Virgil Ortiz without being in a firefight. Like, you're gonna have to.
And
fight.
listen, this will not help his pound for pound rankings, but you know what will hurt his pound for pound
And that's
rankings?
what I was gonna
If you
say.
do go the distance with a
Yeah.
full-time electrician. That's my point here. And Shakur knows that. Shakur's got a job to do, and it's to make him look like he's pound for pound, and it's to make him look like he's a full-time electrician. I think that's what he's gonna do. Yeah, I don't know if Ortiz stops Madrimov. Madrimov's tough, and he's
Just
very
take
good.
him on. It's minus 125. It's pretty good odds. Just take him on a money line. Let's not get greedy here. Just take him on a money line.
That's a good fight to play the draw also.
I think Verge is. I know I'm going to get heat for this. I'm going to be called a homer because Verge is my boy, good friend of mine. I think Verge beats Crawford at 154. I don't think 154 is the best weight class for Crawford. I think if Virgil fought,
that's a ceiling.
Crawford, yeah,
that is a phenomenal win by Polar. To see that as his debut fight against what was that, 24K Hernandez, Valdemir Hernandez, very underrated fighter, very good fighter. For Madrimov to beat him and stop him, it's pretty it's pretty remarkable.
I hope so, Victor. Victor says he'll knock out Madrimov and people will ask for the Crawford fight. I hope so. I'd rather see him fight Verge at 154 than fight Canelo at 68. Yeah.
Amen.
All right. I gotta wrap this up. I appreciate you for jumping on. Any last minute thoughts, comments, anything you wanna address?
That's it, man. Gary, always a pleasure talking boxing with you. Okay.
Always a blast. Always a blast. Come on.
All right,
anytime.
guys. Good luck. Good luck with everybody's betting slips, betting luck tomorrow. Enjoy the fights. It's a great card.
I'll be live after everything wraps up tomorrow. From Texas to the world. Thank you. And God bless.
Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3D Boxing is on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.